I hate this. The Grateful Dead bassist Phil Lesh dies at 84. Um, so sad, man. I love the Grateful Dead. I've done touring with the Dead, as in like doing the whole lot thing, not like I'm a musician playing with the Grateful Dead. Um, no, like if you're not familiar with the culture of the Grateful Dead, um, you have a lot of diehard fans who just love the band and love the community, and it's a beautiful bunch of people. And there's always people who are scamming people and who are bad apples. But for the most part, I've always been embraced, and there's always a good scene. And I went on tour with them with my girlfriend at the time, this little hippie girl, and we went on tour. We did the West Coast leg, and it was I think they were going by The Dead, and they had Shannon. No, not Shannon. What's that girl's name who wrote "What If God Was One"? If God was one of us, who is that? Joan Osborne. So Joan Osborne was doing the part, the female vocalist. Which, God, what is her name? I used to know more about this. I mean, once you get sucked into the lifestyle, you like really get sucked in, and you're like, I mean, there's people out there who can listen to bootlegs, and be like, oh yeah, that has to be from like the 1975 tour in Europe. This sounds like Belgium, September 16th, 1975. Like people are like balls deep into it like that. So, hey, and to each their own. Anyways, just giving you some of the culture of these diehard fans. They also have this thing called Lot, right? And then Shakedown Street is where people set up their booze, and they sell like hippie bracelets and dresses and fucking grilled cheeses for $1 and shit. And so Shakedown Street is generally like a pretty happening spot. People go to these concerts just to hang out in Lot, right? Like a lot of things happen in Lot pre-show. Like the show is just sort of like the main event, but people are like super psyched to go and hang out on Lot. And there can be some questionable characters, right? Some quirky peeps, and some people have a pocket full of drugs that they're willing to sell or give you. Uh, a lot of people will go on tour to make money. Drug dealers will go on tour to make money, which is, I think it's the most riskiest, stupidest thing to do. But I've heard so many stories of like the fucking. I had a friend who was selling just all kinds of hallucinogens, doses, and weed, just tons of weed. And this was back in the late 80s. So this was not when weed was socially acceptable, as socially acceptable as it is right now. So, he was on a bus, and the FBI came through and shut him down. And one of his partners shot the other guy because surprise, surprise, somebody ratted everybody out to save their own ass, and that person ended up getting shot in the face. So there is some crazy shit that happens on Lot, and as much as people want to think of hippies as these benevolent just creatures of the woods, they can be psychopaths and fucking deranged, and a lot of people have mental health issues on the road. You got a lot of like I feel like a lot of orphan kids. You got a lot of trust fund kids on the road, and they're hitchhiking around. I mean, caravanning. It's not as horrible as it I made it sound there, but it can be. So it's definitely a different monster that I had a lot of good times. And even after that West Coast tour thing, I went to different shows, and Phil Lesh, Phil and Friends, was one of those side bands. Like Rat Dog is Bob Weir's band, and he has like a Bob Weir band or something. And like Mickey and Mickey Hart has his own thing. So like everybody in the band, all the original members had their own separate thing that they did on the off season. So you'd get a lot of fall and winter tours, because usually the Dead, their big tours over summer, like a lot of these institution traveling acts. Like Dave Matthews is a big one. Not Phil Lesh, Fish, right? Like these institutions that do summer tours and stuff like that. That it's just what they do every year. And then so in the off season, each of the members of the band would go off and do like a fall tour and a winter tour and a spring tour, and then the Dead would get back together for summer, and boom. And of course, there was always exceptions to that, but especially at the beginning of the band's existence. So let's get into this. I'm saying all this because I want to convey how emotionally connected I am to this band and to these people that I spend so much time with and following around and just experiencing like the most beautiful and amazing things that you can think of, and sadness and loss and despair. All of that shit fucking exists while you're traveling, and it's one of the things I love about traveling. I tend to lean into emotions in such ways, and I mean, in this moment now where I'm sort of depressed and not getting enough sleep and not eating correctly, and music is my savior. And I'm completely sober right now, so I'm not leaning on any drugs or anything to sort of get me through anything. So right now, music has been like such an amazing drug, and I just been fucking using, man. I've been fucking using. All right, let's get into this. R.I.P. Phil Lesh, first and foremost. Phil Lesh, bassist. Oh, what the? Phil Lesh, bassist and founding member of the countercultural rock band The Grateful Dead, has died. He was 84 years old. His family posted the news on Lesh's official Instagram page. Born in Berkeley, California in 1940, Lesh was initially drawn to classical music. Yeah, Phil could play tons of different things, but he took to the bass rather quickly. They might mention that. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He's in the way that he plays the bass is so unique. That's what I've always loved about him. And I believe he plays it with the pick, and just the way he runs around the scales and is able to carry these crazy polyrhythmic fucking jams, right, man? Like it's just, he's able to like really walk it and carry everything on him, and of course the foundation, which is bass and drums. So like they're very he was just so good at it, in capturing that, and his approach to bass was just so unique, because I believe it was because he was a guitarist too. Let's read on. There's a lot I don't remember about this guy, but he played violin as a child before turning his attention to the trumpet, which he studied throughout high school and his time at the College of San Mateo. In the early 60s, he met banjo player Jerry Garcia, because people forget that Jerry was fucking amazing banjo player and loves bluegrass and just a student of bluegrass and country, who later asked him to join the rock band The Warlocks as their bassist, an instrument Lesh did not play. He accepted nonetheless. And in 1965, the Grateful Dead was born, with Lesh finding his footing in the improvisation-driven group as he went. Now, you can tell. Okay, so what they're indicating there is that he was able to find his footing, and his unique approach came out of just desperation and having to keep up with everybody. But he had a basic understanding of music. So if you have a basic understanding of music, you can apply it to any other instrument. It just requires you to apply and practice, right? So he obviously was a multi-instrumentalist, and I'm guessing that new instruments came kind of easy to him. Especially if you have a good mix between violin and trumpet, like you got string and brass in you. You can go almost anywhere. And, piano is one of those baseline instruments that everyone should just know how to play. Just because it's beautiful for composing and such, writing. It's such a linear way of looking at the music scale. Whereas like the violin or guitar or whatever, it's not laid out as linear as the piano is. And so the piano tends to be one of those instruments that if you study music in school, you're going to take a piano class and you're going to learn something about the piano. Is that a stain on my shirt? God bless it. On a day-to-day basis, the psychic pivot to the dead is Phil Lesh. The most aggressive purist, my bad. Let's try that again, guys. On a day-to-day basis, this is a quote. On a day-to-day basis, the psychic pivot to the dead is Phil Lesh. The most aggressive purist, the anti-Philistine artist, wrote Grateful Dead biographer Dennis McNally in his 2002 book, A Long Strange Trip, The Inside History of the Grateful Dead. It is he who most often and most loudly demands that they dance as closely as possible to the edge of the nearest available precipice. Intellectual, kinetic, intense. He was once nicknamed Ready Kilowatt in recognition of his high mental and physical velocity. And, Phil Lesh took the bass out there too, right? Like, he doesn't get credit for what he did with the bass. I feel like he doesn't get enough credit. Everybody's like, oh, Ringo Starr doesn't get enough credit as a drummer because, listen to fucking Come Together, bro. That was like so crazy. Okay. Yeah, let's give Ringo Starr his fucking flowers. But Phil Lesh deserves so much more, especially in his experimentation. He was running shit. He was running his bass through like Zillagraphs. Is that what they are? What the fuck? That is not what they're called. Can't remember what they're called. Anyways, but he would run it through different electronic gadgets, getting different sounds, and using technology to push the sound forward. These guys were all about sound, right? Like, these guys had the Wall of Sound tour where they just had this big fucking wall. They lost tons of money on it. It was a horrible idea, but they did it. Over the Dead's decades of musical longevity and reinvention, Lesh went on to sing lead vocals on some of the band's most memorable songs, including Box of Rain off the 1970 album American Beauty, which he composed alongside a longtime Dead lyricist Robert Hunter, and Unbroken Chain off of 1974's From the Mars Hotel. Of course, we're not going to play anything here. Yeah, it was just a bummer today. This was just a sad fucking day. That's just what it is. After Garcia's death in 1995, Lesh reunited with fellow band members Bob Weir and Mickey Hart and keyboardist Bruce Hornsby to tour as The Other Ones, and later The Dead. So The Other Ones is named after the bus that Ken Kesey used to roll around giving out LSD. Now, there's some speculation about this whole LSD thing and Ken Kesey and Timothy Leary, where Ken Kesey came out of he was like a country intellectual writer, whereas Timothy Leary was a stringent professor at Harvard, right? So there is some talk that the counterculture revolution was something that was kicked off by the CIA in order to sort of get rid of God and to bring hedonism into the mainstream. And by doing this, they sort of set off a pattern of events that lead us to sort of where we're at now, right? With like free love and take drugs and all that. So when you look at music now, it is full of sex. It's full of drugs. It's full of just, abhorrent behavior, which, listen, I get it. Rock and roll, live hard, live fast. That I get that lifestyle and I get that mentality because I was there. I've done that shit before. You can only do so much of it. Honestly, it's a testament to these people, to these guys, that they can continuously keep fucking getting fucked up and playing music for like 40 years. I mean, Jerry Garcia was just a drug addict for like 40 years, right? Until his body was like, bro, you're fat. What are you doing, man? And it just gave up, right? Now, Phil, he also, I believe, got a kidney or liver transplant. I think the kid's name was Cody. he had hepatitis, and he would always think, I think his name's Cody. We'll look that up. Let's make sure we got it. Cody Phil Lesh. Yeah, that's what it is. So here's Reddit. If you think it's cool that Phil Lesh wears an armband that says Cody in honor of his dead childhood dog, wait until you hear what Eric Clapton's Tears in Heaven. Wait, no, Cody is the donor, right? Cody's liver, yeah. There's an X page called Cody's liver. Wow. I'm the liver of Grateful Dead bass player Phil Lesh. Donor, rap. Become an organ donor. So Cody was a little kid who donated his kidney, right? What is it? No, liver to Phil Lesh. I mean, not like he was like, I want Phil Lesh to have it. You know, it was like he died and the liver was there. And at the end of each show, whether it was a Dead show or it was Phil and Friends, he always thanked Cody, and everybody else be like, "Thank you, Cody!" You know, because it's like if it wasn't for Cody, we wouldn't have Phil, and so Cody is held in such high regard, and which he should be. I mean, that's amazing thing that child, out of the sadness of the loss of a child, came out, you know, this amazing outcome where Phil Lesh got to perform for, I don't know, 30 more years. I think it's 30 or 40 more years beyond what he was supposed to live. After Garcia's death in '95, Lesh reunited with fellow band members Bob Weir. Oh yeah, we just read that. And the Dead. So that's what we're talking about. The other one. So the other ones was the other one or the. Let me make sure. Because the other ones. Oh, Further is the name of the bus. I think I got the origin. Let's just see what this is. The other ones comes from the Grateful Dog. That's the other one. Okay, that's what I thought. 1968. The other one. Yeah. Okay, that all makes sense now. I'm just like I was listening to the Dead all day at work, and I'm sure it drove people crazy. But the other one is a song, and so it was a play. I totally went on that tangent about Tim Leary and fucking Ken Kesey for no fucking reason. If you guys ever want to read a great book, The Electric Kool-Aid Acid Test is Tom Wolfe's. It's sort of like I don't know. It's like a fictional nonfiction. I don't know. I guess it's like he took some artistic. What is that called? Artistic. I don't know. He just did what he wanted to do and just made some of that shit up, is what I'm saying. He also released albums with his own group, Phil Lesh and Friends, and for a decade operated a popular venue called Terrapin Crossroads in San Rafael, California. There, Lesh often performed alongside sons Graham and Brian, though Terrapin closed in 2021. The Lesh family continued to champion live music in Northern California, most recently organizing a festival called Sunday Daydreams, which Lesh headlined this past summer. Look, he was still playing fucking all the way up until he was done. I would have to say that music and performing are as essential as food and drink to me, but even more so as I get older. Lesh told the Marin Independent Journal in June, while it can sometimes be more of a challenge physically than it was when I was a young whippersnapper, I found that age brings wisdom, and with that comes musical experience and knowledge that I didn't have when I was younger. Man, R.I.P. fucking Phil Lesh, dude. What a fucking hero. We love him. We love him. And yeah, sad shit, but this is what happens. Life goes on, and we'll remember you, Phil. R.I.P. Phil. Love you, buddy. I did see that R.I.P. Phil was trending, so let's go see if we can find some videos or something.
very clear recollection of everything that was going on during that period of time on all those tours during that approximate decade?
No way.
And do you have a clear recollection of everybody who was present on those various tours?
No, I don't. I've already stated that it's all very hazy.
Hazy during that period?
Any period. The last 30 years are one big smoky haze.
The judge
Except for a
starts.
few little bright moments.
Now, I feel at this time that you have a very
That's
clear
hilarious.
recollection
So,
of
what is this? The Jerry Garcia trial. Let's look up the Jerry Garcia trial. That's interesting. I don't remember this. But that is very funny. Trying to ask Phil Lesh, do you remember all the details? Okay. So this is the San Francisco Gate, and this is from 1996. Wow. Continue without disabling. Get the hell out of here. Trial reveals wealth of Jerry Garcia, Grateful Dead star wife, had $6.6 million in 1990. Interesting. Providing the first public peek at Jerry Garcia's accumulated wealth, his longtime lawyer and accountant verified in Marin County courtroom yesterday that the late rock star and his second wife had about $6.6 million in assets when they separated in 1990. Attorney David Hellman of San Rafael cautioned, however, that the balance sheet he prepared in April 1990 includes some dartboard estimates of the couple's corporate holdings in Grateful Dead Productions, Grateful Dead merchandising, and other business ventures. The $6.6 million figure is included in financial documents that Hellman authenticated while testifying in a court fight between Garcia's second wife and his widow over $5 million claim against his estate. Wow, it's always that, isn't it? It's just people are like, oh, I need a favor. Come on, man. Give me a piece. The balance sheet, albeit 6 years old, is the first evidence made public outlining the musicians' holding and their possible worth. The appraised value of the estate of the Grateful Dead leader died in August 1995 has not been revealed. Okay, so what? This was... I don't get it. So it was like an estate thing. Whoa, $50 million. What the fuck? Ungrateful Dead. Jerry Garcia's estate settles with ex-wife. Oh, wow. So this was a whole thing, man. Almost 4 years after Jerry Garcia's estate has finally settled a claim brought on by his ex-wife. The infamous Grateful Dead guitarist died of a heart attack in 1995 while recovering from drug treatment, blah, blah. At the time of his death, his estate was valued at $15 million and was earning more than $2 million a year. Wow, good for him. And this was back in the 90s, so that was like real scratch back then, man. Jerry Garcia left a simple will executed May 12th, 1994, that left most of his estate to his wife, Deborah Coons Garcia, and his 4 daughters, all from previous relationships. Garcia had married Coons in 94. Deborah was his third wife, who admitted Jerry spent more time on his art than on his financial affairs. I can only imagine being a drug addict, musician, superstar, and like, I don't know, is there money? Well, then fuck off. Like, I'm doing shit. I'm getting high over here. I don't want to talk about that. I gotta fucking go jam out for 3 hours, bitch. I gotta get right. After his death, his widow stopped sending payments to Garcia's second wife, Carolyn Mountain Girl Adams, according to terms of their divorce. I'm guessing divorce settlement. The guitarist had paid Carolyn $400,000 since their divorce. Wow, alimony. Carolyn filed a suit against the estate, claiming it had reneged on her divorce settlement. According to Caroline, Jerry Garcia had promised to pay her $250,000 a year for the next 20 years, totaling $5 million. This bitch would, wouldn't she? Widow Garcia's attorney claimed Mountain Girl manipulated the guitarist into signing the divorce settlement, adding that their 1981 marriage was only a tax sham. It was just a tax sham, bitch. Last year, that ain't true. They were just married for tax purposes. Last year, as the whole matter went before a judge, Jerry's relationships with both women became very public. To prove the validity of their marriage, Carolyn even read aloud love letters from Jerry before the court. That's embarrassing, bro. That is so fucked up. It's so fucked up when all this shit happens, when families fall apart and money's up for grabs and diaries are read in public. It's like, goddamn, people are ruthless for a little bit of scratch. But, you know, I don't know. When you're looking at that much money and you realize that what you can do with that. I mean, it's obviously it's a very what is that called? A intoxicating. Money is intoxicating, right? Like it will draw you to be bad. To prove the validity of okay. Deborah's widow appealed and contested the award, advising that Carolyn's claim was only valid during Jerry's lifetime. Late last week, as the case was under appeal, Caroline finally settled for $1.5 million with the estate. She agreed to the lesser amount, bringing this very painful and public chapter of the Garcia legacy to a close. However, there are still claims against the estate from ex-wives, lovers, and former business partners totaling more than $30 million. God damn. All the vultures come out. Who wins? The estate attorneys do, as they drag this high-profile case through family courts. Wow. Yeah, exactly. Could the legendary guitarist have avoided most of this? Probably. Okay, so that's fun. That was a nice little side quest. I don't know what that was. What is this? I love this great man, Phil Lesh. Oh, here we go. Let's see what this is. Yeah. Oh man, he's like chording shit too. That's really cool. All right, let him play a little so we can hear. I want to like point out what he does so well. I don't think that's gonna happen. There he is, Jer Bear, man. It's Jer Bear. It seems like he kind of simplifies when he's singing at the same time. I just really like how he walks the bass and just keeps everything pushing. It's just amazing. Yeah, truly heartbreaking, man. Phil Lesh shares story of Box of Rain. Listen.
This was the first time I had written a song in a long time. The lyrics came about in an unusual way. This was the first time I had written a song in a long time, and I worked out the melody and the chords, and in fact the whole song from beginning to end, the introduction and a little coda and everything, and I put it on a tape and gave it to Hunter.
He'd just written these lovely changes and put them on a tape for me, and he sang along. Do 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 ba da da. So the phrasing was all there. I think I went through it 2 or 3 times, writing as fast as I could. And that song was written, and it was written for, I guess it was written for a young man whose father was dying.
I want to. Something just occurred to me. He said that I guess this song was written about a man who lost his father. It's such an interesting way of explaining the writing process, because it's like he's clearly, Phil is saying like this song just came out of him, right? The whole song came out in one full chunk, and sometimes that's what happens for creatives. It's like something just pours into your fucking soul, and you gotta just like shit it out, and that's just what it is, right? And then for him to turn over the recording to Robert Hunter, who was, famously the lyricist for the band for a long time, and he shit it out, right? Over 2 or 3 passes. And then it's like he's channeling something that he doesn't completely understand. He's just a conduit. And so he almost separates himself from the process because it's something that sort of just flowed through him. That to me is so fucking cool. Those moments where shit just comes to you all at once and you just shit it out, those are always the fucking greatest. Those are always the best hits. Those are always the best. Of course, there's people who painstakingly put notes together and like melodies, and it takes them a long time, and that's great too, right? Like that's just another process. But and I'm not saying that's what happens for everybody, because that's not everyone's process. It's not like, oh, it just shined down upon me and I shit it out. But it happens that every artist once in their life. I really loved how he said that. Let's listen to him say that again, because that was really cool. It's a really cool way that he looks at it.
Phrasing was all there. I think I went through it 2 or 3 times, writing as fast as I could. And that song was written, and it was written for, I guess it was written for a young man whose father was dying.
I guess. Okay, we gotta get past these songs.
Out and visit with him in the hospital, and also at the nursing with him in the hospital. Dad was dying of cancer, and I would drive out and visit with him in the hospital, and also at the nursing home that he went and spent his final days in. And after Bob gave me the lyrics on the way out there, I would practice singing the song, and I sort of identified that song with my dad and his approaching death.
What do you want me to do for you to see you through? A box of rain will ease the pain, and love will see you through.
The lyrics that he produced were so apt, so perfect. It was very moving for me to experience that during the period of my dad's passing.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, they're like sharing psychic energy. That's what creative process is. There's some scientists now who are making it like saying it publicly now, that they think dreams and consciousness may be from other dimensions of existence. So like when we get ideas or when we have weird dreams, we're actually entering another realm of existence, another dimension. And so you can have these shared thoughts through consciousness, and you must be traveling together. I don't know. It's just so interesting when these ideas, an idea that's so powerful that needs to be heard, right? Like this idea, this conscious, it's almost like they're a conscious thing that just sort of bonds to humans who can sort of get it out, right? Like who can translate it into something else. It's just so beautiful, man. Like it's just, people don't know, people don't really think about this. And of course you could say it's all just neurons and chemistry and biology and all that fucking shit. And it is that too. But it's something else, man. Like when you tap into artistry, when you're tapping into the creative process, and when you're like in that flow state where you don't stop and you don't even think about eating, you don't think about using the bathroom, you don't think about drinking water, like all bodily functions cease to exist, and you sort of travel through time, right? Because time no longer exists. And you're just sort of focused and zoned in until you're finished. And you just know when it's finished. It's an incredible experience. And I've experienced it several times in my lifetime. And they're always great songs. Always. I mean, great songs in my opinion. Whatever. I'm not saying I'm a great songwriter. I'm just saying that for me personally, they were great songs for me. And I mean, some of those songs are out there right now. Most of them are just in my phone. Anyways, what a great insight to Box of Rain. I didn't know that's what that was all about. Fare thee well. We will miss you. Yeah, man. What a long, strange trip. Yeah, this is a really fucking important moment in my life, finding this band, when I found jam music in general. Really big turning point. Oh, here's Johnny. Survive. Getting a little emoty here. Getting a little emoty here, bruh. Anyways, R.I.P. Phil.